Hi Year 6, another video from me. Moving on for the next lesson or that you'll have on MyMaths. It's April, 1st of April. So pinch and a punch for the first month and no returns. So this video, what we're focusing on then? Well, we're revisiting ratio, which is your MyMaths that you'll be doing, and something new which you haven't done yet, looking at finding the midpoints of a line, but I think you'll pick it up pretty quickly. So this will probably only be a short video. Okay, so first thing, quick revisit of ratio then. So Arthur is organising his collection of DVDs. He has 120 altogether. The ratio of comedy films to action to horror is 4 to 8 to 3. So comedy to action to horror is 4 to 8 to 3. How many of each type does he have? Okay, well, I know then he's split them into groups or shares, if you like. He's got 4 here, he's got 8 here, he's got 3 here. So how many groups is he splitting his 120 into then? Well, 4 add 8 is 12, 13, 14, 15. So he's splitting them into 15 groups. Okay, so it's probably going to be useful for me to work out how many each group is worth then. Well, actually, I can do that quite easily, can't I? I can do 120 split into 15. Well, how many 15s go into 60? 4. So how many go into twice as many? It's going to be 8. So each group is worth 8 then. So how many comedy DVDs does he have? Well, he has 4 groups, and each group is worth 8. So 4 8, 8, 16, 24, so 32. How many action does he have? 8 times 8 is 64. And then horror, 3 8s, 8, 16, 24. Now it should, if I add those all together, add up to our starting number, which was 120. 4, 8, 10, 0, carry the 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 120 it does. So that is how many is in each group. Remember, work out how many groups you've got in total, so add your ratios together and split your starting amount into those as well. Okay, so nice, easy warm-up one to start with. And then we've got Josie. She makes some fruit punch by mixing fruit juice and lemonade in the ratio 2 to 7. So fruit juice to lemonade is in the ratio 2 to 7. And she needs to make 54 litres for the party. How much fruit juice does she need? And then how much lemonade does she need? Well, again, I've got 2 groups there, 7 groups there, so that gives me a total of 9 groups. If I do 54 divided by 9, which is 6, so that means there's 6 litres for every, that's 1 group, which means that here we've got 6, 12, 2 lots of 6. Here we've got 7 lots of 6, 7 times 6. Okay, 7 times 6, well, 7 sevens are 49, so 7 times 6 is 42. If I add those together, I should go back to my starting number of 54, which I do. So it's 12 litres of fruit juice and 42 litres of lemonade. So nice and straightforward ratio there for you. Now, moving on then, something slightly different. I've got 4 quadrant grid here. As you can see, I might zoom this one out a bit, so I've got the entire page here now. So we have 2 coordinates, 1, 1 and 1, 4. So I go 1 along and 1 up. Robbie's going to love this because he's really good at coordinates. Now, 1, 1 and then 1, 4. There they are. They are my coordinates. Remember, you do x and then y, x and then y. Go, that's your x, that's your y, along the corridors and then up or down the stairs. Okay, now there's my we can connect those with a line, so these are my 2 points. I can obviously connect those nice and easily. Pretty good straight line there. And then it's asked me for the length of my line. Well, that's really straightforward. The length of my line is going to be 1, 2, 3 units. Okay, so that's the length of my line. Really straightforward, and I can do the same here between A and B. Well, there's A, there's B, so if I draw my line, well, it starts at -5 and it ends at -2, so my length is again 3 units. Okay, 1, 2, 3, nice and simple. Now here we've got again the same again. We've got point A, which is here, and we've got point B, which is there, but we've also got this point here, which is M. Now, if I move it there, that is exactly halfway. It's the midpoint, as they call it, okay? It's exactly halfway, but it is also known as the midpoint, and the midpoint, funnily enough, is halfway. So it wants us to calculate that midpoint. Well, we've got a grid here, so it's actually really easy to work that out. But if I put my line on here and go along, I know this point here is 1 minus 2, and I know this point here is 5 minus 2, and halfway then is going to be 3 minus 2. Notice that the y line stays exactly the same because it's on the same y point. So the midpoint would be 3 minus 2. Okay, x and y. That's your midpoint of those 2 points. Really straightforward, nice and easy. Okay, then though, what about if you're calculating it and you have no graph to draw? You just have your 2 points. Well, I need to think about this. So if I've got my 2 points and I know my 2x points, my midpoint is going to be halfway between my 2x points. So if I'm starting at 6 and I'm going down to 2, what's halfway between 6 and 2? Remember the trick I've taught you. Find the average, add them together, divide by 2. 6 add 2 divided by 2. 6 add 2 is 8 over 2, which is 4. So my midpoint of x is going to be 4. And now I can do my midpoint of y, which is 3 and 5. So again, if I add 3, add 5, I'm finding halfway. 3 add 5 is 8. Divide it by 2 is 4. So my midpoint of these 2 coordinates here would be 4, 4. Okay, so that's your midpoints. And I think if we remove this, we can see that here, that's my coordinate there, 2, 5. So that's this one, 2, 5. And then that's my coordinate there, 6 to 3, which is there. And the midpoint is 4, 4. So I know my maths is correct, but you can see that visually on the graph just there. Okay. So what's the formula then for finding the midpoints? Well, I've just pretty much told you the formula for finding the midpoints. So to find the midpoint M, as we say, this is your formula. We do the coordinate x's first coordinate added to x, the second x coordinate, so x1, so we call that x1 and x2, and then obviously we divide those by 2, and then we do, funnily enough, y1 added to y2 and divided by 2. Okay, so there is y1, there is y2. Okay, so we're going to add those together. So if I do my x1, which is 7, and my x2, which is 3, following my formula then, so I'm going to do 7 add 3 divided by 2. Looks quite good if you manage to present it like this as well. It looks really technical. Actually, it's not. That's 1 and that's 4. So I'm then going to add my y1, which is 1, and my there, which is 5. Sorry, it's 4. Total is 5. Add them together, divided by 2. I end up getting 7 add 3 is 10, divided by 2 is 5. 1 add 4 is 5, divided by 2 is 2.5. So they are my coordinates. Of course, you can have decimal coordinates, okay? So x would be 5 and y would be 2.5. So add your two x's together, divided by 2. Add your two y's together, coordinates divided by 2. Then you get your midpoint, which is halfway between your two coordinates. Okay, so nice and simple, nice and straightforward. Hopefully that makes sense for you. So that is your MyMaths that you've got for the next 2 days. So you've got Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, so actually 3 days to do 2 lessons. Okay, and I know some of you will just manage to bang those out pretty quickly. Okay, so remember, please, you've got 2 pieces of MyMaths due by Friday. Of course, you've got TT Rockstars, Year 6 are against Year 3. Obviously, you've got Doodle as well. They're really good because it's tailored to your levels. And some children still have a bit of MyMaths from last week that needs finishing. But just giving these 2 a shout out who I've seen. Ethan Bebbington can clearly see there. He is on TT Rockstars. You can tell because he's hovering over the number keypad there. And Robbie here has found his own maths to do. On White Rose, he sent the answers through to me and I marked them, and it was on enlargement. So well done you two for finding it. Ethan for doing the times table rock stars, and Robbie for finding yourself some own maths to do to keep you occupied. Please send me through your pictures if you are doing maths. It's nice to see them, especially if you're doing extra maths like Robbie was. I hope you're all well, keeping safe. Just a quick video for you today, and we'll check in again at some point next week. So enjoy doing the maths, enjoy yourselves with the other learning you're doing. It's lovely to see you popping up on the Twitter, and we will speak soon. Okay, thank you very much.